Welcome to Rich Keys Trading Channel, where we unlock one candle at a time. Please pay attention to the disclaimer on your screen. And without out of the way, let's get into the charts. Welcome to Rich Keys Trading Channel. Um, I just want to share a higher perspective analysis on Bitcoin and give my overview of my biases on Bitcoin. Um, it's not like I'm always bearish or I'm just looking to see Bitcoin, in a bearish tone. But there is a bullish pattern to Bitcoin chart as we look at it now, and there is also a bearish signature to Bitcoin's pattern as we look at it now. Now, this is the daily chart of Bitcoin, and I'm looking at it from the pullback we had in April 2025. I think this was when the tariff was announced and there was a sell-off that came back down, and from here April we started to rally from a previous high of 108 or so. So we made this low and then we started moving up. Okay, now this is very important. Please watch this 75k level, very important. I'll show you its significance as we go to a higher time frame. Okay, so we started from here and I'm counting from here to here as a wave one. We pulled back and we did a wave three. We pulled back, and there's the possibility that this is a wave four and we are on our way to a wave five. So this is the bullish case scenario from the daily chart perspective. Okay. Now, what would convince me is a break above 124, maybe 123, let's say 124. Okay, when price breaks above this level, I'll be very convinced that okay, we are on our way to wave five. Wave five initial target is somewhere around 135 all the way to 167. Okay, before we could probably think of a correction. So that's the bullish case scenario. So if you're a Bitcoin bull, I get it. I understand where you're looking at things from. Um, I definitely understand where the perspective is coming from and why everyone is still looking that we could break this pattern that we are forming here and continue our journey up. Kudos, it's very possible. This is why risk management is key component in any trading, especially on a volatile asset like Bitcoin, because this is a very highly possible structure. But on the other hand, what I see happening ever since we hit this 10, actually I'll say 119k, we pulled back and we just made this small rally up and we started selling off. I see this whole thing here as distribution. Now I'm a big Richard Wyckoff trading pattern. You know, when you see this pattern here, to me this is distribution. And in distribution, yes, could price come back to test this 124 levels? Yes, the composite man, as he calls it, is looking to offload at the best possible price. Okay, so as price falls and people get interested and they buy, okay, when they get to a certain level that this composite man sees that he can offload at a good price, yeah, definitely. So 124k back on the cards. Yes, I get it. It's very possible. The only reason why I was over the weekend looking at this chart was this lower high that we had put in here on the daily chart. So here we went to this high, we pulled back to the 21 weekly moving average, and then we bounced up to this level. This was I think it was a 0.618 Fibonacci retrace from this high to this low. So I assumed that okay, that's a lower high in. We pulled back. Unfortunately, we couldn't break below this support, and so this support has then rallied us back above this high. Now, could we continue our way up above this high to 124? Like I said, it's very possible. If we do get a candle close above this level with good volume, you could then at least throw off the bearish scenario and say, okay, you know what? Bitcoin can do it. All right. Bitcoin can make it all the way to the 135 and to 165 target. Okay. I've painted a bullish picture. Now let's look at the other scenario. And from my other scenario, I want you to square off to the weekly chart. So if you look at this weekly chart here, okay, this shooting star that we formed here for me was the signature line. Ever since we put in this shooting star, I started turning very bearish. Okay, now could we, right now, price is approaching this same level again. It's very, 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 very possible. The composite mark could push price towards this level and then maybe even to 124 and then sell off. That's how they offload their assets. They don't sell all at one. They do it over a long period of time. As price becomes favorable, they offload. So yes, obviously I just didn't think we would come back to this level, but it's very, very, very possible that we might come back to this level. And if we do get a candle open and close above this level convincingly, hey, the composite man is happy to push price a little bit higher before he does his distribution. In other words, this is not convincing enough that he's going to offload at this level. Okay, so that's the bullish case scenario also from the weekly perspective. Now let me zoom out. Let me zoom out and show you why I am still expecting Bitcoin to complete the pullback, especially after this hesitation with double shooting star. If you look at this chart, it's so clear to see this. Okay, so let's step back to the beginning. All right. So this was I think I can go as far back as 2019, maybe 2020. All right. So in 2020, Bitcoin started off a good rally from about $6,000, made it to about 60,000 thereabout. Guess what? When we started having these hesitations at a price level that was a resistance, and see, this did not happen over just a few weeks. It started off somewhere around like February, maybe March of 2021. It lasted until about May. So roughly, let's say about 2 or 3 months, from February to about May of 2021. The composite man did the distribution, and guess what? They sold off price all the way to this blue line you see here. It's a 55 period moving average. All right, so it's a 55 EMA on the chart here. That's one of my most favorite EMAs. All right, so we pull right back to the 55, and guess what? We had another shoot to the moon rally. We rallied from here back to about what, the 66, 67,000, 68,000 thereabout. Okay, and here the composite man decided it was time to sell off again. Now, of course, we did sell off and we broke the 55, which they then put us through a bear market on Bitcoin that brought us all the way down to about 15K. All right. Around 15K, guess what? They accumulated. You see this happening here, right about from about 19K to about 15K. Literally, for several weeks, price was not going below 55K. This was accumulation. So they accumulated, they did their first push above the 55. See how price held this 55 moving average and then it rallied back up again from here. This was about 2023, October 2023. Formed a nice consolidation. Composite might accumulate again. Guess what? They push up. But after they pushed up to about 72,000, guess what happened? We did consolidate. And this consolidation, this is what I'm saying, sometimes consolidations could last a long time. This consolidation lasted from somewhere around like March 18th all the way down to about September 2024 before we did our next leg up. So it's a long time from March to September, several months of distribution where they were just selling. Okay, fair enough. Hit the 55, rallied back up. We have hesitation right here. 108, 109, thereabout right here. 10, let's say about 10, 103 to about 108. Okay, they distributed right in here. All right, as price made it here, they sold off their tokens or their shares. Broad price back about, that's why I said keep it this level is very important. 75K. So on the daily chart, this is where I was doing the 5 wave count. All right. So the 5 wave count I was doing on the daily chart actually starts from here. where we came to touch the 55 EMA, and then we started rallying up beautifully. 124K we almost hit. All right. Now we've come to this level, and all I see is similar to what we had here, what we had here, going back even to 2020 level, what we had here in 2021, and again what we had in 20 November thereabout of 2021. You know, once we hit these levels, and I see this much hesitation because with all the news that has been coming on Bitcoin, a lot of good news coming on Bitcoin, and yet we hit this price level and it starts selling. We hit this price level, it starts selling. It's just similar to me in my eyes from a technical perspective. Now, of course, if we do break above this level convincingly, yeah, okay, I get it. We're going higher. We're going all the way probably to the 135 to 160, 65K. Now, there's a lot of liquidity up here too. So I wouldn't be, be surprised the price makes it there. It's just that I'm seeing here, similar to here, similar to here. And especially when price moves, let me put my measuring stick on it. So here we moved right about maybe 99% rise from the 55, and then we came back down. When I come back here, we've done roughly about 58. So we haven't done quite a 90% from the 55 from here. Now I know that is why if you measure from here, this is the expectation of many people that will do somewhere at least about 150K, because then that gives us roughly about 96% since we touched the 55 EMA. So this is why this target is still very important. And I'm saying that it won't surprise me that this is just a pause and we're making it up to about the 165K target. That won't surprise me. It's just that I'm looking at this hesitation and I'm seeing it similar to here and previous levels, and thinking that we might do the pullback to the 55 before we make our move up. So this is where my bearish scenario comes in, that I'm seeing all this stopping here as a lot of hesitation similar to what we had here, and it could potentially pull to the 55K, which would be around like 99, 98K before our move up. Now, if that doesn't happen, this is just means they're just accumulating extra here and they're going to push it up. How would I be convinced when we break above 120, 124K? I'll be convinced of that. So, this just bears eye view of what I have identified on Bitcoin and I'm closely monitoring. Now, in trading, this is why risk management is very important. Okay. So I have my invalidation level somewhere around here. Okay. Somewhere around 118, 119K. If we break above these levels with a good candle, say this candle that we are currently forming on this weekly chart, if it becomes a very strong candle that overpowers and goes above here, I'll be convinced. I'll be strongly convinced that okay, we're heading towards 150 to maybe 165K. But until then, if we get a fake out or probably a triple top, come back up to 124 and start selling, that would also convince me that the composite man is still distributing. So um, there's no clear cut to this. We just have to go with what the chart present, and make your own informed trading decision as time unfolds. I think that's about all that I want to share. I thank you for your time. Thank you for paying attention to my nugget of analysis, and I wish you a great trading week. Cheers, everybody.